In this lecture, we are going to be scripting a packet snipper, and packet snipper is basically a tool that will snip all the packets that are passing through a specified interface. So using the tool, we are going to specify interface for it to capture packet from, and then it will snip and capture all the packets that are passing through that particular interface, and then we can see what that packet, the content of that packet, what that packet contains. So and this tool, we can use it alongside the tool we created in the previous lecture, that is the ARP spoof tool, to put us in the middle of two host computers, and then the packet that is being exchanged between these two computers will have to pass through our interface, and then we can snip the packet passing through our interface, and then see what those two computers are communicating between themselves. So this is a algorithm and a program plan that we are going to abide by. Our aim is to create a Python tool to snip packet from the interface, and then the steps we are going to follow. Now, the first step, we are going to let the user specify interface to capture the packet from, and then secondly, we are going to snip the packet, and then lastly, we are going to analyze the packet for useful data, and then especially username and password, and then the URL that the user visits. And then this is how we are going to plan our program. We're going to our program consists of 3 functions: a function to get interface, to get the interface, to let the user specify interface, and then a function to snip packet, and then lastly a function to analyze the capture packet and then print out the result. So let's start. So I've already created a tool and put all the necessary things, and then I didn't I decided to start ahead with the function get interface, because by now we are all familiar with how to create how to make use of this model arc first to create this function to so that to enable a user specify argument over the terminal, and then we capture the argument and then bring it into the program for other functions to use. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do, we are going to go straight to step number 2, which is snipping packet. So to snip packet, we are going to make use of module scapy. So let's go ahead and import module scapy. So I just come over here and then import scapy.all as scapy, as we have been doing before. So here we have imported module scapy, and we know that module scapy is to enable us a module. It's a module that will enable us craft packet. So a module to enable us craft packets. All right, so let's proceed. So now we are going to go and create our second function. So def snip, let's call it snip packet. And then as a parameter, we are going to define an interface as a parameter, so that whenever anyone, any line of code that invoke this function is going to pass interface that the function will snip packet from. So whenever we invoke this particular function snip packet, we are going to pass to it interface as argument. So that is why we define it as a parameter here in the function definition. All right. So the next thing that we are going to do, we are going to make use of a function called snip from module scapy, and then we are going to specify the parameters in the function iface, which is going to be the interface that this particular function is going to snip packet from. So this is an inbuilt function within scapy that enable us to snip packet. So we just invoke it within our custom function, our user defined function, and then we invoke the built-in function snip, which is from module scapy. And then among the parameters that we specify here, we specify iface, which stand for the interface that this particular function will snip packet from. So we specify interface so that whenever we invoke the function snip packet, we are going to pass an interface to it as argument. Then that interface is assigned as a value of the iface parameter value. All right, so let's proceed. And then the next thing that we are going to define, also very important, another parameter is the PRN. And our PRN is the callback function. So it is a callback function. Perhaps after this capturing packet, we want to process and analyze it further, and that is the very thing that we want to do. We want to analyze it for useful data, get the useful data, and then print it out. So this is where we now specify a callback function, so that after function snip has captured the packet, now it's going to hand over the packet to this callback function, and then now this callback function will begin executing. Now that is where we will specify how we want the packet to be handled. We are going to see how to do just that. So and now I am going to write the name of that function. That is the third function that we are going to create in this program. So let me call it analyze packet. I don't have the Z keyboard. Z analyze. Okay, so analyze packet. So this is a callback function, so that after this function sniff has captured packet, and then from the interface that we have specified is going to pass the packet to function analyze packet, which is a callback function. Okay, and then another value that is very important is store. Parameter. We specify the value as false. We don't want function sniff to store the packet after capturing the packet. So just capture the packet and then pass it to function analyze packet. There we will process it and then discard it. All right. So these are very important parameters that we have set. So now the next thing that we are going to do now, we are going to proceed with the last function that we are going to create in this packet. So let me add some little comment. It is very good to make sure that our program is full with comment, so that that is very necessary for us when we come back to build the program later. And for anybody that want to make use of our program, when you go through the comment, you know what each line of code is doing. So here I write a function to snip packet, packet from an interface. So from an interface. All right. So now I'm going to proceed to the next function, which is the last function that we are going to create in this program. So def function definition analyze packet. So let me just copy this. Analyze packet. So I'll just copy it here and then come and paste it here. All right, so analyze packet. This is a new function, which is the last function. Okay, so I should have a semicolon there, not quotation. All right, so now function analyze packet as a callback function. When it has been called by function sniff, it's going to pass packet to it as an argument, and then now we can do whatsoever we want to do with this packet. Now for the first time, now let's print out the packet and see how the packet is going to look like. So I'll just print out the packet. All right, so now let's go down and then so now let's invoke function get interface. So I created a variable option, and then as we have been doing before, so get interface. Get interface. So I invoke function interface. That is the function that is going to get the value of interface that the user is going to specify over the terminal. So now we invoke it, and then this function interface is going to return the value of the interface that the user inputted over the terminal, and then when it returns that value is going to be assigned to the variable in line number 35 option and store it in the variable option. All right, or more preferably, let's just name it interface so that the name will match. So let's call it interface as well, or interface. So the variable interface will have the value of the interface that function get interface is going to return to us. So now after returning to us, now we can invoke function snip packet. So to invoke it, since function snip packet does not return any value, it just triggered the callback function analyze packet. So we are going not creating any new variable again. So snip packet, packet. packet, and then followed by the parentheses, meaning it is a function. Now we have invoke function snip packet. Now function snip packet will run, and then it is going, after running, captured the packet, it will now trigger the callback function, which is the analyze packet, pass the packet to it, and then function analyze packet will also execute and then print out the packet in line number 32. So now let's go to the terminal and then run this program and see whether everything is okay. So I'll just come here and then I'll write sudo python 3. So the name of our program is snip packet. Snip packet, packet sniffer, and then I'm going to specify the interface eth0, and then I'll just hit enter. So I'm going to enter my password. So all right, let me type the password. All right, so function has begun executing. Now let's go to a website and then just refresh the website, any website. So I'm already here. Let me refresh the site. Now let's go back to the terminal and see. All right, so mission one require interface snip packet, mission one require positional argument interface. So we are omitting something. Snip packet, we missed something in the program. So let me go back. Okay, so we didn't pass the packet to the function snip packet as we have defined it here, line 26, with a parameter interface. So whenever we invoke it, we are going to pass interface to it as argument. So here, after collecting the interface, we are going to pass it as interface. So interface. All right, so let me save and then go back and rerun the program again. So let me clear the terminal and then rerun the program and see what we are going to have. All right, so let me go back to the website and then refresh the site and then see what we are over back to the terminal and see what we are going to have as output. All right, so as we can see, the packet is being printed. Though it is it doesn't make any meaning now, but as we go later, we are going to see how to process the packet further so that it will make meaning to us. Okay, so I'm going to stop the program. Let me stop the program, and then we go back and then process the packet further. That's why we have function analyze packet. So we go back to the code. So we have captured the packet. Now to see how we can deal with this packet, let's invoke function show method show of packet. We have been using this method in our earlier program, so let's do that here once more. This will show us all the layers and the fields of this particular packet, and then we can see how we can deal with this packet further. So let me save it, and then let me go and run the program again. So go to the terminal and then invoke the script, run the script, and then come to this site, come to this website, and then refresh the site. Now let's see what we are being able to snip. All right, so we can see that the packet makes more meaning. Now it makes more meaning. We can see the various layers, the TCP layer, the TCP layer, the IP layer, the Ethernet layer. So we can see the various layers contained in this particular packet, and now we will know how to process this packet further. All right, so now since we are snipping packet, we might be interested in seeing perhaps we put ourselves in the middle of two computers that are communicating among themselves. Maybe we put ourselves, as we did in the earlier program using our ARP spoof, we place ourselves in the middle of a host computer and then the router. So that host computer is accessing sites from the internet. So we would like to know what sites that particular computer is visiting. So so we know the role a router plays in a local area network. That host computer cannot be able to access the internet. It's now the router that will now get resources from the internet and then pass it over to the host computer. So we would like to know what that host computer is the site that that particular computer is visiting. So to do that, we are going to access the layer, the HTTP layer, because because we know that HTTP protocol is used for accessing websites. So we would like to access the HTTP layer in the packet, and then from there we will be able to access the URL that that victim computer is visiting. So let me stop this program, and then let's go back to our code and see how we could achieve that. All right, so we have, so what basically what happened is that since we are interested in the HTTP site that the victim computer might be visiting, we want to see what HTTP site that the user is visiting. But basically here, function snip will capture any packet. We didn't specify specify to function snip that we are more interested in this type of packet. So it's going to capture any packet, ARP packet, DNS packet, any packet that is passing through the interface. But we are more interested in the site that that particular victim computer is visiting. So to do that, this function snip comes up with another parameter called filter that will help us filter the type of packet that we are more interested in. So I'm going to the filter, and then assign a value to it that we are more interested in packets that are passing through port 80. Port 80. So here now, okay, so I need to put a comma here. All right, so now I have filtered the packet. So function snip will only snip packets that are passing through port 80, that is HTTP packet. So this has even helped us reduce the amount of packets that the function snip is going to snip for us. So here, only the packet that are passing through port 80, that is HTTP packet, they are the packet that are going to be snipped by function snip. Now, still, we cannot be able to see the site. All right, but to do that, let's quickly run the program and see what improvement with the improvement that we have done to our program. Let's see what we will be able to get. So let me come over here. All right, so run the program again and see what we are going to have as output. So let me invoke the program again, run it, and then come here, refresh this web page. All right, then we go back again. All right, so we can see that we have the packets, but only packet that are passing to this are only packet that are passing through port 80. Port 80, since we have used the filter 80, so these are the only packet that we will be able to see. But still, we want to see the site. As we said earlier, we're interested in the site that that victim computer might be visiting. So we would like to have HTTP request packet that so that from there we'll be able to capture the URL that of the site that the user is visiting. But unfortunately, Scapy function snip from module Scapy cannot filter packet by HTTP using HTTP request. So to achieve that, we have to import another module called HTTP request. From Scapy layers.http. All right, so we are going to import that module. I'll just come over here and then import that particular module. So import Scapy dot layers dot http. Okay, so and then we are still in that particular this module, we are still interested in HTTP request. So I'll say it from scapy.layers.http import HTTP request. Import HTTP request. Now we are going to make use of this particular class to now filter the packet by HTTP request that particular victim computer is making to website. Okay, so I will just come over here and then add something to this our function analyze packet. So and then filter the packet further so that as I can say something like if packet. Now if this packet, and then I'm going to invoke a function called hasLayer. So hasLayer, if this particular packet, it is we know that since we have already filtered from here snip, it is going to only snip packet that are passing through port 80. And then here we are also making another filter again. Now if packet hasLayer HTTP request. Now then if this condition is true, then we are interested in that packet. Then we want the function analyze packet to now print out that packet for us. So now let's go back and run the program and see whether we have been able to achieve what we are trying to achieve. So let me stop this and then clear the terminal and then go back. Okay, run the program again and then come back, go back and refresh those sites, website. Okay, so let me go back and see what I'll be able to get from my terminal. Okay, still coding this. Let me go back again and refresh the website. Okay, good. So we have packet have been captured. So let me stop the program. And now let's go back and examine what we have from the captured packet, from the printed result. The printed result. Okay, so let's start up. Let's go down. Okay, so we can see HTTP request. So using that, we have been able to capture, filter the packet by HTTP request, which we are not able to get initially because we say that Scapy cannot filter by packet by HTTP request. So using the Scapy, using the module Scapy.layers.http, and then from it the HTTP request, we have been able to use that to filter the packet further, to distill the packet further, even though all the packet that we are capturing now, they are the packet passing through port 80, and now we have make use of hasLayer function of module Scapy, and then passing HTTP request to it as argument, and then we have been able to still filter packets that are HTTP request packet. Okay, so if it is a packet passing through port 80, that is one condition. That is if that packet is passing through port 80, then function snip is going to capture it for us. And then here we are still making another condition. So even though it is passing through port 80, it is if it has layer HTTP request, then we want it printed out. And fortunately, we have been able to capture we have seen the HTTP request layer. Then now we can be able to now get the URL of the website that our victim is visiting. All right, so now let's see how we can achieve that. We want to be able, let's go back and examine the output. So from the HTTP request, we can see some of the fields that are contained within that layer. So let's look at this HTTP request layer. Now we can see the field, we can see method. We can see that this site is making a request through get method to that particular website. And then, as I have said earlier, we are interested in the URL links that the user is visiting. Okay, so and then to assist us in trying to capture the URL, to know the fields that we are going to use to filter the packet further in order to capture the URL of the site that the user is visiting, we are going to do something. So I will just let me scroll down to the end of this output here. Okay, so I stop the program. So let me clear the terminal and then run the program again. So run the program again. Then I'll go back to those websites. Now, in order for us to have a clear view of how a URL is, I'm going to get any a site that has a particular fixture, and then okay, let me go back to this website again. Then this is we can view image, because image will give us a clearer view of a URL. So I'll just come down and go down there, and then this is an image. So I'll just view image. Okay, so we can see that because image is basically embedded on a website, also has a URL. So we can see that this is the URL of this particular image. It end .png, And also let's refresh it. Let's refresh the image, and then now let's go back to the terminal. Let's go back to the terminal. Now let's try to see the URL link of that particular URL of that particular image. So I'll just go off. I'll just go up, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Go to the HTTP request layer that contain that particular image. Okay, so we can see this. Okay, so we can see that this is the HTTP request layer, and then we can see now we are after the field that contain the URL of that particular image. So we can see path field has this particular site.scratchpad.eu up to the end, aprictech.png. Now when we go back to that image, let's does the two match at aprictech.png. So we can see that this is the URL of this particular image. Let's go back again. You can see that they start from /site/scratchpad.eu. So let's go back and see. Okay, so /site/site/ so it starts basically from here. That is omitting the main domain name of this particular of the URL. So it omitted the main domain name, that is scratchpad.eu site. So and then this the main domain name scratchpad.eu is contained within another field, which if we go back here, we are going to see it under another field. So let's go down and see what field contain that particular main domain name in the URL. So we can see it is under host scratchpad.eu. Now that is what contains the main domain name scratchpad.eu. If you go back to the URL of the image scratchpad.eu now, and then the path field, if you go back to the path field, and then contains the remaining part. So basically it is combination of the host field, a combination of the host field and the path field that make up a URL link of the visited site. Okay, so now let's make use of this information to now try to access the URL links of the site that the victim computer is visiting. Okay, so I will stop this and then clear the terminal, and then I'll go back there and try to see how we can make use of this knowledge to now get the URL link of the site that the user that our victim computer is visiting. Though we are not carrying this we have not placed ourselves in the middle of connection. The packet that we are capturing now, they are packets that are emanating from our interface, the site that we are visiting. But later on, after we have completed this program, we can see how we can use it alongside the tool that we created earlier to now place us in the middle of two host devices, and then snip the packet that is passing through those devices, and then from there we can see you can see how we can capture the URL of the site that the victim computer is visiting. Okay, so now we are going to make use of that knowledge. We have seen that this particular the host field. All right. Okay, sorry, I happen to have omitted it. Let me run the program again, and then go back to that particular image, refresh the image, refresh it again. All right, then let's go back to the terminal. Okay, so when we come under the HTTP request layer, under the HTTP request layer, we can see this is the path. This is the path field, and then we can see the path field and the host field. The host field in combination with the path field contains the URL link of the visited site, but they are all under HTTP request layer. So using this knowledge now, let's go back without clearing the terminal. Let's go back. Now we are saying a packet has layer HTTP request. Now if it has layer, now we want to get the URL link. Now to do that, we are going to access, as you can say, packet dot Now we are going to access that particular layer HTTP request, and then we are not interested in the whole of the layer. We are interested in the we say that it is a combination of the host field. Okay, not capital, lowercase. All right, I'm pressing the wrong key. Is a combination of the host field and the path field that will make up a URL. So let me copy this, and then come and paste it here. So it is a combination of the host field and the path field that will make up the URL of the visited site. Path field. Okay, so and then I can create a variable here as a URL equals to packet.http request. So in that particular packet, the HTTP request layer, and then we are accessing the host field from the layer HTTP requests of that particular packet. And here we are accessing the path field from the HTTP request layer of that particular packet. So we are combining them together to get the URL of the site that the user is visiting. So now let's print out this URL, and then if there's any further thing that we need to correct, we correct it. So print URL. Now let's print the URL and see whether we have been able to achieve what we are trying to achieve. So now let me go back again and run the program and see what we have. All right. Okay, so and then all right, so let's proceed, and then just come to the terminal here, clear the terminal, stop the program, clear the terminal, and then we go back here, and then now refresh. Okay, we didn't run the program. We run the program, hit enter, and then go back to the image, refresh the image, refresh it again, then go to the terminal and see what we have as output. Have we been able to capture anything? No, we have not been able to capture anything. Let me go back again. I'll refresh it. I'll refresh the image. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, good. So we have been able to capture the URL of the image. So we can see the scratchpad.eu and .eu/site/scratchpad.eu. So we have been able to access the URL, and then let's go back aside from the image again. Let's go back to let's go back to the initial website, and then let's further go to another website again. Let's refresh this website. Resend. Yes, we want to resend. Okay, so let's go to the terminal and see. So successfully we have been able to successfully achieve the we have been able to capture the URL of the website that the user is visiting. So all we need to do is to go and perform further formatting to the output so that it will look more user friendly. All right, so let me terminate this program by entering Ctrl+C, and then I can clear the terminal. Now let's go back to the program and see what we can improve on it further. Okay, so we can see while running the program, we can see B is coming in bytecode. It's coming in bytecode. When we hit it, run the program, and then go back here, refresh this site, resend, yes, resend, and then come back here again, refresh this site, and then when we come back, we are seeing this B. This means that this is in bytecode. This is in bytecode. It has been encoded in bytecode. So we can decode this so that we can get rid of this B, meaning it is a bytecode. We can get rid of this B, and so that it will be in a normal string. So let me terminate the program again, and then clear the terminal, and then go back to the output, and then here under the packet HTTP request.host, let's decode it. Decode invoke function decode that will now decode it into a string. So here also that path will decode it into a string, save it, and then print the URL. Let's print the URL. So let's go back again and see whether we have been able to achieve what we want to achieve. So hit enter, and then go back to the site that we have been visiting. Refresh the page, go back to another site, refresh this page, resend, yes, resend, All right, so okay, so as we can see that the B symbol for bytecode, it has gone away. Now only what we have is a pure string. All right, so we can stop the program here and clear the terminal, and then go back to our code and see what we can work on the code further. All right, so we have been able to, so we can format this output further by using a format control string. So I'll put a colon, and then we can put allow further formatting to this particular output. All right, so I'll put a plus sign, meaning this is a useful symbol, and then so okay, so all right, so requested URL. So let's write requested URL, requested URL. Okay, requested URL, and then okay, so let's go with the requested URL, and then requested URL. This is the URL that the user has visited, and then I can put a brace and then input the URL, and then I'll simply put the URL here, and then so this is a new way of formatting string, unlike the one we have been using. So I just put the F, which is a stand for the format character, and then I can any value that I want to put that is not a string, or any value, any type, any data type, like URL now is in a string. I put it URL. Now I don't need to put the that is the percentage sign and S, that's what we have been doing before. I'll just put a URL. Now the value, the actual value of the URL is now going to be replaced by this URL. Now this is a more nicer way of formatting strings. So we just put the F character here, and then we come further into the program, and then if we want to put any value, we put it within a brace, and then the actual variable will be replaced by the value, like in this URL. The actual value of the URL is going to be replaced by this URL, and then we are going to have a very nice output. And then also let's put a some new line characters so that we can have some spaces in between the output. So I don't have a backspace character here, so I'll just put the /n, and then save the program. I'll save the program again, and then I'll go back and run the program further again. So I'll just hit enter, and then I'll go back and refresh this. All right, so no, I'm not going back to Kali, so let's go back, refresh the fetch, and then come back here, also refresh the fetch, and then let's go back and have what we have as output. So we can see that the output is more nicer, unlike what we have been having before. So we can see requested URL. These are the URL that the computer is making requests to. Scratchpad.eu/site/all/module. So we are going to stop here, and then in the next lecture we are going to continue building this program.